We're doing a golf summit.
How's everybody doing? You guys hear me okay in the back? Okay.
Talk to you guys about maybe.
My name's Randy. I work in the handicap department at the USGA. You'll be hearing from myself along with Jen Ford and Matt Mazzella. So today's session we're going to talk about the GC. Something that I hope that we're all excited about. It's been a great success from our perspective. We believe it's been a great success from your perspective as well. We just want to go through some of the changes that are going to be upcoming in the next few months. So what we're going to cover is just a quick review of what's been. Does this work? Okay, good. All right. So quick review of 2024. We'll give you some statistics up to November 1st. Trends that we've seen, numbers, pretty typical of what we do in a monthly AGA call. Then we're going to talk about the USGA investment in 2025. The amount of money that we're investing, how we're investing it, to really grow that number of golfers with a handicap index. Jenny's going to go through some AGA data confirmation to get ready for 2025. We'll talk about the new platform. And then Matt's going to talk about the marketing, what we're looking to do in 2025, things that we've done in 24, the success of those things, and then just going forward. The first thing that we want to do, and you saw this earlier if you're in the gym session, is just really talk about the difference between, not difference, but how we work with the how we work with the gym team. Coming from the gym team, I still mix them up. But from a handicap standpoint, we are really the governance side of the USGA. So what that means is implementing the WHS nationally throughout the country. That includes the rules of handicapping and the course rating system. There's seats for applicants for that. We have them on if somebody wants to be a guest up front. Like me, having the kitchen table in the restaurant. We oversee the course rating software as well as the course rating database and centralized computation. So the handicap index is calculated by our team, and then through a series of APIs, we allow vendors to interact with that data. So those vendors do include GiA&x, Blue Golf, Administate, those that service the golf associations, as well as vendors that service golf clubs or golfers individually. So again, just a reminder of how our two departments work together. So let's talk about the GC, quick year in review. So as of November 1st, and we're up to 355,000 as of this morning, good job. 354,361 golfers. So steady increase. It's amazing to me, even as the golf season comes to an end in many associations, that number continues to grow. These numbers really haven't changed much as far as demographics, men versus women. Still seeing a smaller percentage of women, 6% of women have a handicap ID through the GC. Let's see, average index hasn't changed much, the age hasn't changed much, but one thing you'll see is 38% growth year over year. So really exciting this time last year, they increased the number of people that have joined the GC. And this also represents about 10% of all golfers with a handicap index. So it's amazing to see that we hit that 10%. I think it was maybe midsummer when we hit that number. So all of the 3.2 million, there's 10% of them that come from the GCs. What's really exciting is the renewal rate. You'll see we've had an 83% renewal rate. And this is something, Jenny will talk about it, but golfers had to opt in for auto renew. So that's just amazing to see that they chose to opt in. Maybe it was out of convenience, but they've chosen to opt in to renew this membership year after year. It's also exciting to see about 20,000 golfers renewed, but with your AGA clubs. So whether that was a green grass facility or another type of club, whether it be a group of friends, workers, whatever that is, they decided to join a more traditional club, if you will, which hopefully better suits what they're looking for. Maybe they're looking for preferred tee times, tournaments, something like that. So it's exciting to see that migration from the GC to more traditional clubs as well. So it was great following David this morning from NGA, because we had prepared this slide about golfer engagement. We wanted to see, okay, these people sign up, are they actually playing golf? So to date, we've had about 72.5 million rounds posted by AGA golfers, 61 million posted by male, almost 11 million posted by women. And the numbers kind of correlate to the GC. So 10% of all scores posted are coming from GC golfers, 11% from male GC golfers, 5% from women. So women represent a small portion of the GC membership, and the rounds that they post correlate to that. The GC members have posted about 7.5 million rounds, with 7 million for men, 500,000, for women. The average number of rounds, 21 rounds and 26 rounds. So the women are actually more engaged, posting more scores per women, even though that they're posting fewer scores. Well, one of the things that we found, and David alluded to it, the research that we did this summer with them, which we plan to share out, in that research it showed that lapsed golfers average 38 rounds, while golfers who have never been engaged with the handicap index average 25 rounds. So that's a great opportunity. There's about 110,000 GC golfers that are inactive today. So that's 100,000 more people you guys can get to reactivate through your communications, whether you encourage them to come back to the GC or you provide opportunities for them to sign up with one of your more traditional clubs. This is just registrations by month. No surprise, May, June, July, actually April is really when it starts to kick up. But look at even over the winter time, there's a lot of people that sign up for a handicap index, even from the northern states where score posting is not available. There's a lot of registrations happening, so we want to continue that drumbeat. You can sign up for an index at any time. It's good for a year, 365 days, regardless of when you sign up. So investments for 25. So you should have heard this on last month's AGA call. And if you're not attending those, I would certainly encourage you to attend them, or at least review the documents after the calls have taken place. But we are planning on investing about $3 million into marketing, product, and operations to encourage golfers to get a handicap index. With that, we are going to increase the service fee, the USGA service fee, to $12 per golfer for new members. And I have a slide and a couple of slides to exactly define what we consider a new member. At the end of 25, we're going to evaluate the effectiveness of that, and then make plans for pricing for 2026. So this is for 25, and we're going to pour gas on the fire, really encourage a lot of people to get a handicap index, and this is the service fee that we're going to charge for that. For returning members, we'll remain at $7 for the service fee. So where are we going to invest that $3 million? So little over half of it, or just under half of it, is going to go into marketing. And that's what Matt's going to talk about. Well, one of the things I thought was interesting when David spoke this morning, he talked about searches. You can see that search engine optimization. That's one of the key areas we're going to increase funding for that. There's going to be a new commercial to integrate handicapping and GiA&x. I like what David said this morning about making it fun. So we'll have to think about ways to talk about getting a handicap index and making it fun as opposed to more data-driven. Or, is there a happy combination between the two? Influencers, digital advertising, the normal channels that we've done. As far as products, we're going to be looking at developing an SDK, which means software development kit. Learning way more technical jargon than I had ever intended to when I started out in the golf business. But essentially what that would allow us to do is give to the vendors, whether they be a VASP or the GPAs like the Arcoses of the world, an opportunity to encourage their customers, because they have a different customer base than we have, to encourage them to sign up for a handicap index, but retain them within their own app. So that's an exciting piece for us to really be able to get out and reach a different, broader, more broad base that we don't have access to today, or that's not hearing us today. Under the, and then GIN trials, we've had, I think it's 32,000 roughly, GIN trial members that have converted to the GC. I think the GIN team is going to talk about how many overall have converted, both to the GC and more traditional clubs, but specifically to the GC, I think it's about 32,000 year to date. And then for operations, Jenny's going to talk about the new platform and some of the capabilities that we're looking to implement. And then just, again, talking to these vendors, encouraging them to encourage their customers to sign up for a handicap index. So with the pricing, just want to make sure this is really clear, because this should be taken into consideration when you're thinking about your pricing for 25. So GC service fee for new golfers is going to be $12 and $7 for a retained golfer. The $12 fee for a new golfer, that definition would be brand new members who don't previously have a handicap ID. So they're brand new, they get issued that handicap ID. Or if they they previously had a handicap ID and they sign up for the GC. Regardless of their status at that other club, if they're coming brand new into the GC, it will be $12. For retaining golfers, the $7 retaining, if they renew within 12 months of when they went inactive, or if they continue their membership, that would be a $7 charge. So just want to make sure that that's really clear, that if somebody goes inactive and they're part of the GC, if they come back within 12 months, it will be a $7 charge. If it's beyond that year time frame, then it will be a $12 charge. So any questions on that quick overview? All right, terrific. I'm going to pass it over to Jenny. Yes.
That 83% renewal rate that you,
Yes.
Does that count for those that joined AGA?
Yes, so the renewal rate, Nick asked, does the 83% count both GC and AGA clubs, and it does.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to talk about the AGA data confirmation, and that started with an email that I sent out to the executive directors and the GC primary contacts. I sent that out on Friday, November 1st. And just as a housekeeping item, just make sure that you're talking amongst yourselves. We only need one submission of that survey for each AGA. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of the survey, we had to send it separately. So just just connect and make sure that you send in one survey submission. Okay. The survey is going to close on November 30th. We already have about a little over 20% responded, so feel free to get those surveys back as soon as you can, but you do have until November 30th. Okay, in the survey, that what we're going to be asking, a lot of this it should be basic information that you just have to confirm, and we've already provided it for you. So your AGA name, your AGA acronym, the GC name. Just a reminder though, if you are looking to change the GC name, that we keep the USGA at the front, you get the middle bit to change, and then GC is the other bookend. Then we need to have an AGA website, a physical address, and we're actually also asking for the phone number for the AGA and the email address that will provide the GC golfer the most direct support if they reach out. So keep that in mind when you're filling out that survey. Okay. Contacts for USGA internal communication use. So this isn't necessarily going to be displayed anywhere. This is just for us to make sure that we are reaching out to the correct person when we have information, process changes, procedures, reconciliation. We want to make sure that we're connecting to the right person. So a lot of this will be pre-filled, and you'll just need to verify it. But we are going to be asking for a reconciliation contact, the primary, and then we're also going to be giving you, giving you an option to actually put a second contact in there. Okay. So moving on. Okay, so for the final two categories of what we'll be asking for data confirmation is we are going to be asking for the 2025 GC pricing as well as the privacy policy and terms of use. So for pricing, as Fran mentioned, as you set your 2025 pricing, please consider that price sensitivity might impact your membership and those who join the GC and your AGA. So we want to avoid situations or inquiries that we hear that people are reaching out because they want a refund because they talk to their AGA rep and their club is $20 cheaper. So in that spirit of collaborating, we'd much rather have the connection of being together on a forward collaborating force than creating a competitive environment. Okay, so on that pricing, you will be able to keep your 2024 pricing, or you will be able to change that 2024 to update that pricing. Please keep in mind, if your golfers need to pay taxes on that GC pricing, just keep that in mind when you're setting that price, because it is the money that's coming out of that golfer's pocket. So for taxes, our USGA finance team will run a check on your GC membership to see if a tax should be applied. And if it is, we will reach back out to you and let you know that. But that's something that our team will do, and then we will communicate that back to you. Okay, so I'm not sure if, for some of you, might have been the first time that you heard that we're moving to a new platform for the GC. As Fran mentioned, the USGA is investing significantly in programs to reach the goal of 5 million golfers by the end of 2026. So funneling future golfers to obtain a handicap index towards the GC will have a major impact on the ability to be able to reach that goal collectively. So why are we switching? We felt that the need to enhance our visibility and control over communications and reporting was a necessity. The change will allow us to better customize in collaboration with the AGAs, and we will be able to incorporate more AGA-specific messaging and individualized reporting. So the switch will also increase our enhancements of tracking our data support connected to our marketing efforts and specialized campaigns, specific campaigns, just like Fran had mentioned. As we move forward with the migration to the new platform, we will increase our processes, our emails, our communication with you as AGAs so that you are with us every step of the way. Okay, some of the new items that you will see on the platform, I think probably the biggest change is that all golfers will now be switched from having to opt into auto pay to actually automatically going into auto renew. So the golfer will have the ability during registration and after registration to remove that auto renew, but they will automatically be defaulted into that as they register. So refined registration experience. GC registrations will have the most cohesive and intuitive user experience. Golfers will see other clubs that they are active with, which is, I know, something that we've heard a lot of feedback from AGAs. They want to make sure that their golfers don't purchase something accidentally or by mistake because they didn't know that they were active with another club. Oops. There we go. Perfect. Sorry about that. Let's see, where are we? Refined communication. So we'll also be able to, we're looking to have new tailored communication options and customized internal reports. And although they may not be ready on day one, we have solid momentum moving us towards that goal. Expanded survey capabilities. We have enhanced ability to create and send surveys, capturing more details on the golfer journey, and including additional information on abandoned cart. So we will continue to work closely and internally collaborate with AGAs and internally with our own departments to make sure that we maximize when we send the surveys, and so that we're in lockstep with each other. All right. We will also be providing a new GC support email, so that will keep it separate from those who have questions on handicapping. This email support will just be for GC members, which will provide a better customer service for them. And then self-help options. This one is probably my most exciting part of the whole transfer, is that we will introduce the new self-help resource for golfers, and it will be available on the registration on the homepage at all times. So this is a busy slide, and it's probably a little bit more granular than some of you need, but I thought that it was important because a lot of these things will impact you directly, especially if you work in the administration side of things. So now the golfer will be able to have a myriad of options when to manage their membership. And again, this will be on the homepage of the GC registration. So automatically, if a golfer would like to request a refund within that 14 days, they will be able to click a button and the refund will be provided automatically. So there's no delay, you don't need to wait for someone to approve it. If it's within 14 days, it's going to automatically happen. What happens after that refund is processed, the golfer goes inactive, and the GC communications stop. So as an AGA, you don't have to worry about having GC communications to that golfer if they joined another club. Or whatever they decide to do after they request that refund and it's processed, there will be no future communication with that golfer. Canceling. The next three columns actually have to do with canceling or changing a membership. And when a golfer writes to us and asks for them to cancel a membership, it means different things to different people. So we've taken the ones that come through the most, and we've tried to allow them to help themselves. So we will have a cancellation option. That means that the golfer will go inactive, their membership stops immediately. They can do that for a variety of reasons. Maybe they joined a club and they only have 2 months left in their GC membership and they just don't want to see it. It could be a variety of reasons where a golfer would do that. So that's what happens with cancel. They can also pick do not renew. Do not renew means that the golfer's membership, it will expire naturally on the date that on the natural organic expiration date. They will no longer receive communications. And a lot of times that happens when a golfer joins a new club, like joins a green grass facility. They know that they don't want to join yet, but they know they're going to join, so they just want to stop the communication, finish out the membership, and move on. Then there's a switch renewal level. So the switch renewal level means that a golfer automatically opts into auto renew. They have the ability to switch that to the manual communication flow, which means that they will still stay active, they will still receive communications, but it will not be an automatic payment. So they will have it will be on them to renew their membership. And if they don't renew, then they will go inactive, but we will still communicate with them. Then we have update payment information. So something new is that the golfer is going to be able to go in at any point during their membership cycle and be able to update their payment information. They don't have to wait now until 2 weeks before their registration expires. They can do that at any time. One thing that I do want to talk about here, though, is, and it's a pretty major change, is that we will no longer accept bank routing numbers. We will only be accepting credit cards for payment. So those who are on auto renew right now with bank account, they will be thrown into the manual flow, and it will be up to them to go ahead and renew their membership with a credit card. And then I have moved. I have moved gets a little tricky because it really depends on what the golfer wants and when they're requesting or when they're letting us know that they have moved. So what they're going to be able to do is, if they move midway through their cycle, they're going to have the option to do not renew, or to cancel right then and there, or they're going to have an option to be thrown into a manual renew with their new AGA. So we have a lot of exciting things that are coming, and I think it's going to be really helpful for those golfers to self-help, which will actually help the AGAs and us. Kind of takes us out of the equation a little bit and allows the golfer to make more quick and see quicker actions taken. So, all right.
Awesome, thanks Jenny. That was awesome and great insights. For everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Matt. I'm on the marketing team at the USGA, oversee all of our advertising and email marketing efforts. I just want to take you through a little bit of a journey of how we did on the marketing side to support some of the AGAs and drive handicap growth overall for the year 2024. So just to give you a lay of the land here, in about June, July timeframe, we partnered up with multiple AGAs and different tiers of campaign support to help drive handicap index registrations and also get an understanding of how each different campaign worked and the effectiveness of it. A tier 1 support, we worked with the Carolinas Golf Association, Northern Nevada, Minnesota, and Texas on a full paid media campaign, working with our agency and internal USGA teams to promote handicap registrations and pooling our budgets together to launch a geo-targeted campaign to that market with a myriad of assets that we'll jump into later. Tier 2, giving these AGAs here all the assets that we created throughout the year for them to put into their own marketing campaigns that they're already running in their markets, and then using a few AGAs here on the right just as a baseline to understand how we can scale this for next year, understanding that we didn't share assets, but just trying to see what the data tells us so we can scale this a little bit more next year. Just to dive into the numbers a little bit, Tier 1 saw 2% growth in overall AGA growth. The GC saw 10% growth in these markets, again, towards the tail end of the season here, which was nice to see. Tier 2, about 1.8% growth. The GC saw 5% growth, and so on and so forth. So, nice to see that we're able to make an impact across the board, and just a great case study to show how working together really does move the needle and helping to get to that 5 million golfers with a handicap number. So, kind of dive into some of the details here, but first, I wanted to show you what we've done at a national level. So this is a campaign supporting every AGA that is here and targeting golfers across the U.S. with all of our different assets and platforms available to help drive that growth. So utilizing our partner at NBC, having handicap integrations into the U.S. Open, Women's Open broadcasts, etc. Endemic partners like Golf Digest, Golf.com, social media advertisements, Google advertisements, and a lot more that I can't fit on this screen. So just taking a look at the data as of the end of September, 17 million impressions across these channels, 261,000 clicks to the USGA AGA GC website, and 22,000 tracked registrations. So that's anyone who clicked on an advertisement, purchased a handicap right away, not accounting for those 261,000 people who clicked but might have come back a day or two, a week or two later to purchase after seeing our advertisements across platforms. Some impressive numbers here just throughout the year. Like Fran mentioned, that 38% increase in membership to the USGA AGAC, seeing a lot of great growth there, and will be a key component of getting to that 5 million number over the next 2 years. 13% increase in just total AGA membership. In an area we did a lot of targeted support this year, and an area we see a lot of low-hanging fruit and growth opportunities is women, doing targeted influencer marketing campaigns and also using A/B testing with women in our marketing assets. Saw a 41% increase in female membership, so really excited about that and feel like there's a lot more we can do with that next year. So just a little bit of a market analysis and showing how much work is to go to get to that 5 million number. Large untapped markets across the US, just kind of focusing in on some of the tier 1 markets that we focused on for that marketing campaign. We use NGF data to understand in each market how many people play golf and then how many people have a membership with an AGA and have a handicap index. So there's a lot of work to do, and we're going to talk about some of the strategies next year and over the next couple of years of how we're going to be able to do that, and largely involves partnering with you guys. So So just giving a bit of a lay of the land on how we rolled out these marketing campaigns with the different AGAs that we worked with. Minnesota and Carolinas Golf Association leveraged a full paid media campaign, Google advertisements, social advertisements, local cable buys, connected TV streaming within each market, and YouTube advertisements using our data and platform's data to understand what channels people are on and going after them with the data we have available to pinpoint people exclusively who are interested in golf, so really being able to get targeted with our efforts. Nevada, we partnered with towards the end of the summer, and we're able to do a quick flight with them, bring them on board to do a test campaign, utilizing Google, social, and YouTube advertisements, like I said, before the start of their low season. And Texas, partnering with the TGA to help supplement the campaign that they were already doing. So they had a pretty robust campaign in market already, targeting more lower funnel activity to drive registrations. We didn't want to help compete with that campaign, so we helped support them with more of an upper funnel campaign, utilizing streaming and YouTube advertisements to help support their campaign. So just diving into some of the tactics here. Google advertisements, targeting anyone who's searching for handicap gym related terms, and also utilizing Performance Max, which basically reaches anyone with advertisements across Google's suite of products. We saw a lot of success with social media advertisements, so not only using static advertisements and interactive carousels, but also leaning into influencer this year, working with Roger Steele and a bunch of other influencers, largely who were female influencers, to come up with fun, engaging, exciting content, telling the story of why people should have a handicap index, and then advertising that content out to our audience to drive them right to the GC. And then utilizing our Just for Fun campaign that we came out with this year, which you likely saw during the US Open, and maybe saw some of our advertisements in your respective markets, but leaning into that commercial and having different lifts from that commercial, touching on all the reasons people should have a handicap, and being able to put that all across video formats, including YouTube, cable buys, like I mentioned, and connected TV. So anyone watching streaming platforms like Max, Hulu, Paramount Plus, Peacock, having a presence on those channels with data that shows us that people who are interested in golf are on those channels. So I just want to dive into the results here a little bit. Saw a lot of success this year, and in a very short time frame that we ran these campaigns. Google, Performance Max, really great at driving lower funnel registrations, and social media, especially the influencer work we did, driving that excitement, telling the story, and also just providing overall awareness. Streaming continues to get bigger and bigger every year. You'll likely see the data of that people are cutting the cable and going to streaming products. So how can we leverage the assets that we have available to reach people on the platforms that they're spending the most time on, especially younger generations, as we look to grow the GC and handicapping overall, knowing that younger people spend time on different platforms than they traditionally have. An interesting insight we saw is, so when we looked at 2023 and 2024, during the month of May to June, the lift that we saw in registrations year over year. So we came out with our Just for Fun campaign, aired that during the US Open, saw some pretty staggering increases, 41% increase in GC membership and a 40% increase in AGA membership over the course of the year. So showing that the video assets that we invested into and aired during the US Open and afterwards really helped make an impact and provided a lift, and providing you guys with that asset next year for your own marketing efforts will be a component that I'll talk about later. And then just the growth rate overall. So during the time frame that we ran this campaign nationally, the growth in the GC was about 5%, and the growth of our AGAs overall was 1%. When we ran this campaign, we were able to see that 10% growth in the GC and then 2% growth in overall AGA membership. So showing that this stuff works and being able to kind of partner together and pool resources to reach that common goal was a great case study to see that it's possible, especially towards the end of golf season when we ran the campaign. So lots of opportunities partnering, during the early spring next year, like Fran mentioned, when golf season's starting to ramp up. Certainly see a lot of opportunity there, and just diving into some of the budgets that we allocated to this campaign and the results that we saw, and kind of pooling our resources to reach that common goal. So some key takeaways, like I said, it takes everybody. We have a big goal to get to 5 million golfers with a handicap index, and that's going to take about 20 to 30% growth of the overall AGA membership every year. So being able to team up together and pool our resources and go after your target markets effectively is going to be really important. And we're actually going to send out a survey after this meeting to understand, your marketing capabilities, what you typically do, your target markets, and seeing if you want to buy into this program. So you'll hear more from us, and we'll be in touch with the RADs. But I feel like there's a great opportunity for us next year, just seeing how this worked this year. And then asset sharing is going to be a key component of that. Just having spoken with the AGAs here today, Greg from the TGA mentioned it was really helpful to have the assets that we created for their own marketing campaigns, especially the video that we created. We co-branded it and we gave it to each AGA, and they were able to run their own marketing campaigns with it. So while we're using them in our campaigns, it's going to be really important to share it with you guys as well. So anything that you're doing, you can utilize it just as added value of the partnership with us. And then mentioned gin trials a little bit, but seen a lot of success with it, and there's really high conversion rates, and we're kind of going through an exercise of seeing which route makes the most sense for which golfer. Knowing a lot of golfers might be price sensitive or might not be ready to make a purchase right away without having tried the product. Leaning into marketing free trials for that golfer who really wants to try it out first before making that commitment. That's been a really interesting test this year, and seeing that it does work. So as you're working through your strategies for next year, just keeping that in mind for one that is starting to gain a lot of momentum and that we're seeing a lot of success with. So that's all from us. Happy to answer any questions you guys might have, not just my area, but Fran and Jenny as well. Yep.
Matt, you just touched on this. Is the intent that with the $3 million investment for marketing next year, is the intent that any interested AGA could take advantage of that tier 1 support? I mean, do you feel as though the USGA's got the bandwidth to service every AGA to that level if they want it?
Yeah, we're working through it, like the survey that I mentioned, kind of just understanding each AGA's capabilities and the budgets you have available. Obviously, we have that 1.3 million that we mentioned, but adding on would require some additional support just to be able to tap into those markets effectively, knowing that we're marketing at a national level. So yeah, you'll hear from us, and we'll see kind of how we're going to roll it out. But basically, we want to partner, and doing so in a way that's scalable across our 50 plus AGAs that are available is going to be a key focus for us. So yeah, we'll be in touch and help roll it out with you guys.
Out of that growth that you mentioned, are you able to track how they're coming in? Like, is there one of these platforms that is more successful than the other? Are you able to get that?
Yeah, so we track that very in depth, obviously very high level, but when we partner together and share around some results, happy to kind of dive in a little bit more. But each channel has its own kind of KPI. Like obviously, if you're watching a Google app or you're watching a cable advertisement or streaming advertisement, you might come through a different way than if you clicked on a Facebook advertisement and purchased right away. So we're able to map out that user journey and kind of figure out where we want to spend our money appropriately. But yeah, definitely have a full view into that, and can happily share some more info either this week or over email.
Jenny had mentioned the new platform. What is the name of the platform?
It's an we have it in-house. It's not.
Built it in-house?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I think it's safe to say it's built upon HubSpot, just so they know the number of them that use HubSpot. So
there you go.
Gotcha.
I have a question for the group. So one of the things that David said this morning was talking about engagement, and these people say that they want to hear from you. By a show of hands, how many of you have sent out a communication to GC members? Not a welcome email, but just a specific to that, and some of you have thousands of GC members, but specific to those 1,000 GC members, something about your association. Okay, terrific. So they're not the ones that are saying they're not hearing from you then.
I have a question about the app and the SDK.
Yes.
With those, when you say they'll exist within the app, does that mean they'll exist outside the AGAs, or will they still be within the AGAs?
So the question was in regards to the SDK and where it sits inside of those apps. So I'll use Arcos as the example. Today they're an approved vendor through our Golfer Product Access Program. So the thought is, and again, I'm not super technical, but the thought is we would give this SDK to Arcos. So if Jenny is a customer of Arcos, but she has no idea what a handicap index is, they can put messaging inside their app that encourages her to get one. And then when she clicks on that button or whatever, it goes through our registration process that we then put them in your club. So it always drives them back to the GC. Jeremy?
Golf shot part of that already.
Golf Shot, they're transitioning from a VASP to a GPA. So yes, they're going to be part of that ecosystem, if you will. Yes?
To get to your question about how many of us are communicating with them directly, what's the nature or frequency of your communication with them throughout the year?
So we don't communicate with them other than with renewals. So we tell them, when their renewal date's coming up and if they need to update their credit card, that type of thing. But that is something that we definitely want to talk to the AGAs about next year, because going to HubSpot will have a little more control once we learn how to use it. We want to do some of that campaigning in conjunction with AGAs. So as an example, the welcome email today is the same for all 57 AGAs. Again, after we launch and we feel comfortable with the platform, we'd like to be able to offer some customization to AGAs. Or potentially, if you already have your series of 4 welcome emails, maybe we don't send a welcome email to your members. And again, that gives that connection directly to the AGA rather than us kind of trying to make that connection. Everybody happy with the GC program? And this is my pitch to all you executive directors in the room. Spend some of that money on a handicapping course rating staff member. GC person. Q3 payments, I'm in final reconciliation, so you should have them in the next week or 2 before Thanksgiving. Anything else? All right, go. For those other staff members that aren't in attendance, we have Handicapping Live next week that we're going to be reviewing not only what was in this presentation, but what Scott and Lee are going to talk about. And that way you'll have the slides, so you didn't have to take copious notes. All right, thanks everybody.